Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Got a couple of things to talk about today. One being the ongoing problem with the ports, especially on the West Coast, mostly California ports. Some more news coming out about them that's just, this has been ongoing problem for at least a couple of years now. Just one thing after another that's causing problems out there, and a good amount of the imports and the exports in this country go through some port on the West Coast. That's a major shipping area for us, so it's certainly something to be aware of. And I think that this is just more tax to our whole supply chain, food systems, everything that we're seeing happen. And so we'll get to that here in just a minute. And then the second thing to talk about is the weather and the grand solar minimum and this solar cycle we're in. I believe that we're finally starting to see the effects of it. I mean, we've kind of seen the effects for the last couple of years, but I think we're into that. And so we want to talk about that a little bit and how that is going to affect, on top of all the other problems when it comes to our food system, our food supply, how that's going to affect it. But before we get started, while we're talking about food, I just want to mention that there's a link in the description below that you can go to and find some pretty good deals on emergency food stuff. This is the freeze-dried stuff in buckets. Go to preparewithtravis.com, work with My Patriot Supply to provide some really good deals on high-quality emergency food. That's preparewithtravis.com. Also, June 26th, which is this Sunday, coming Sunday, is our next local meeting. For those of you that are interested, you can shoot me an email if you want to know where it's at. For the rest of you that have been there, it's this Sunday, June 26th. Same time, same place as always. So let's talk about this here. There's problems with the ports in California, okay? Again, this isn't problems because of lack of workers. This isn't problems because of shutdowns. This isn't problems because of, containers. This isn't problems because ships are backed up because there's too many. This isn't a problem because there's not enough ships because of Shanghai lockdowns. This isn't a problem because now too many more ships because the Shanghai has unleashed their, relinquished their lockdowns. And this isn't a problem because there's now going to be less ships because Shanghai's once again relocking itself down. I mean, there's just been this roller coaster of issues. What this is the union workers, which that's pretty much all the dock workers in California. Their contract ends at the end of this month, July 1st. It's done, and they're not able to seem to work out the problems with renewing their contract. About a week and a half ago, Joe Biden visited LA, and some of you remember seeing him speak with the big ships behind him. And apparently he was there trying to help negotiate that deal. Doesn't look like that it worked, unless maybe what he told them to do is working. I don't know. Love to be a fly on the wall in some of those meetings, but apparently the news is reporting that it wasn't too successful because they're still not able to come to some kind of an agreement to negotiate their contract. And the worry is that it's going to start hurting the movement and the flow at those ports. Now the news is reporting that they don't believe, because there's not been any threats on either side, that there will be a strike. But what they believe is going to happen is, as the contracts end, that the employees will become the union workers will become very strict on following everything to the letter and not work on efficiency and trying to quickly get things processed through the ports. So we'll see another, on top of all the other problems with the ports, we'll see another thing slowing it down. Or at least that's what's been told, okay? I mean, do we really know what's really going on? Mostly at this point, a lot of it's speculation and trying to put together some circumstantial evidence. But it does appear that we're going to be seeing in the next coming weeks an additional layer, because there's many layers going on at these ports of problems. We're going to see another layer of slowdown with these union workers, these port workers, not being able to come to an agreement on their contracts. So that's just one more thing to an already, crumbling system. I mean, how many more hits can it take before it completely collapses? That's pretty much the question that most of us are asking at this point, and only time will tell. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the weather. This was from our local weather station here in the Ozarks, but this pertains to everywhere. He put up some graphics showing for the next 3 months projection. Now, of course, you know how weather stuff works. It's never 100% accurate. But this is what they're estimating for the months of July, August, and September across the nation. A lot of the nation dealing with either excessive heat or just higher than normal heat. And then with the same way with moisture, this one here, a big part of where most of the food is grown in the United States is going to be dealing with continued drought, continued dry conditions. This is really, really going to add to, again, so many problems when it comes to food. We're dealing with lack of fertilizer, we're dealing with extremely high diesel costs, we're dealing with lack of parts and other equipment that's needed in farming, we're dealing with 1,200-year drought, we're dealing with, shortages of wheat and other major food products because of wars and all kinds of other reasons. And the world has really looked to America as being the one to kind of fill in the gap, as always, because of all the shortages of food right now. And this doesn't look like a very good year. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about how they were, not getting, actually it was about a week or so ago, because it looks like most of the country went from a really cold spring to a really hot summer within just a couple of days. That's pretty much how it happened here. But we were talking about how farmers weren't able to get their crops in the ground because it was too cold and too wet. And then, a week or so later, we're dealing with excessively hot, dry temperatures. And the prediction is that we're going to see that trend continue for at least the next 3 months. And that is not good news for farming. We're expected that this is going to hurt the hay production on top of what we've been talking about, that hay is going to be, less hay and more expensive hay because of the lack of fertilizer. And then on top of that, really dry, hot, abnormally high hot temperatures is not a good recipe for hay, especially when we're dealing with a reduction of hay this year because of the fertilizer costs. And then, of course, the food. Hay feeds our food. And then the actual crops are probably going to take a hit this year. How much? It's probably too early to tell. But if this trend continues, I would expect to see not the best harvest this year that they expect or that they have in the past because of the less fertilizer, because of the dryness, and because of the excessive heat. This is, again, a big recipe for disaster, folks. This is what we've been talking about for a couple of years or more on here with this grand solar minimum. For those of you that's watched me any length of time, you've heard me probably say that, there's been a lot of misconceptions of the grand solar minimum. A lot of people think it's some kind of ice age. It's not really that. What it does is it affects the seasons so that it's extremes all the time. So it's extremely cold in the wintertime, and there's long winter times, and then extremely hot in the summertime. And that's exactly what we've seen this year. We saw a colder than normal winter that lasted longer in many places than it normally should. And then it went from pretty much that to a really hot, dry summer. And this is very indicative of what a grand solar minimum is. And most likely it's only going to get worse for a few more years. And so you take that on top of fuel shortages and fertilizer shortages and all the other problems. It is a perfect storm. That's exactly what I've said. That's what other experts have said. I believe it was, who was it? The CEO of one of the big banks, JP Morgan, I think. He said something very similar to that it's just a perfect storm. and that's what we're seeing. Here's some stuff here, because, you know, as we're in summer now, or heading into summer, the southern hemisphere is in fall and getting ready to head into winter. But look at some of these reports going on down south of us. Now, these are areas that are also kind of bread baskets of the world, areas that produce a lot of food, and they're having record cold temperatures already down south. Some of the coldest temperatures that they've seen in the last century or so in some of these places. Even in Africa, there's been reports of excessively cold temperatures, abnormally cold temperatures for this time of the year in Africa, because they're going through their winter season, or beginning into their winter season. And so again, that is grand solar minimum. That's how it works. And this is where it makes it difficult to produce enough food, especially when we're dealing with our global food system, which is really, I mean, it produces a lot when it works fine, but when things are wrong, it's disastrous, because this monoculture, you know, producing only one or just a handful of crops, and everyone's doing it the same way, and it makes it to where the system could collapse very easily. And that's exactly what we're starting to see. I'm not saying it's at the point of collapse now, but we are probably seeing the beginning workings of that. So again, we have to continue to prep up. We have to continue to put as much food out, to garden. I've already seen a difference this year in our gardening. We were a little late getting it out because of the weather. We struggled getting it out. We got a few things out, and then it got too cold and too wet and washed it out, so we had to kind of replant. It just took us a while to get it out there. And then now it's gotten really hot too quick, and it's gotten so hot now that the plants weren't fully grown. They were in the process of growing, that I think it's kind of stunting them. I've noticed over the past week there hasn't been a lot of growth, and I have been watering it in the evenings every few days. I may have to increase the amount of watering that I do, because it got so hot so fast. It's like the large portions of the garden is just kind of slowed down, and I think that's a problem that we could see on a grander scale, going from cold, wet to really hot and dry that fast. It doesn't give the plants enough time to adjust to it, and it can stunt their growth. And so, you know, that's something that a problem that we could have all over. Folks, again, this is why we talk about preparedness, why we talk about stocking up and becoming more self-sufficient, why it's so important, because we can't depend on these systems that we have no control over and that are actually quite fragile. So become more self-sufficient in your systems at home, in your farm, your homestead, and within your community. Folks, get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.